A very good afternoon to everyone listening, and a warm welcome to this podcast organized as part of our Legal Aid initiative and competition. Today's discussion focuses on a critical issue: gender based and domestic violence. Despite constitutional safeguards and progressive laws, violence against women and children continues to persist, often behind closed doors, underreported and normalized. In Jammu and Kashmir, these concerns are intensified by social stigma, limited legal awareness, and economic dependence, and access barriers in remote areas. Addressing these gender based violence here requires not only strong laws but effective implementation, awareness, and collective responsibility. I, Harmanat Kaur, the team coordinator of this Legal Aid Awareness team, I am here to host the opening and the closing of this podcast. To explore these dimensions, we are honored to be joined by three distinguished speakers representing law, administration, and grassroots leadership. Our first speaker is Sonia Gupta ma'am. She is an advocate, legal educator, and founder of RS Coaching Center with over a decade of experience in legal practice and education. She holds a Master of Law LLM specializing in domestic violence against women and has practiced before the Jammu and Kashmir District Court and High Court, primarily in civil and matrimonial matters. Known for her emphasis on reconciliation with justice, and as a former lecturer at Dogra Law College, she continues to mentor future legal professionals with a strong focus on gender justice, domestic violence laws, and child protection legislation under the POCSO Act. We are honored to welcome Dr. Rehana Bijli ma'am, a JKS officer and currently the Additional Secretary in the Social Welfare Department, holding a PhD in agriculture. She works closely on welfare schemes for women, children, senior citizens, and marginalized communities, including rehabilitation programs, shelter homes, POSH Act implementation, and drug de addiction awareness. Our third speaker is the State General Secretary of Mahila Morcha BJP. Her name is Urvashi Gupta ma'am, actively engaged at the grassroots level with women across Jammu and Kashmir, focusing on women's empowerment, awareness building, and addressing social and gender based injustices. Together, our speakers reflect the essential pillars of law, administration, and community leadership. We hope today's discussion inspires informed dialogue and meaningful action towards a safer and more equitable society. Thank you and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Harmanat ma'am. Now, I would like to commence the session with an ice-breaking question for all of you. Given the socio-political history of Jammu and Kashmir, what additional vulnerabilities do you feel that women face when it comes to domestic and gender-based violence? And how should legal, administrative, and social responses be tailored accordingly?
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I thank you all for making me a part of this interactive session. Administrative and social reforms, which I can talk about the additional vulnerabilities which the women are facing. See, vulnerabilities can be physical, they can be sexual, they can be mental, they can be emotional, and of course, they can be economic also. Because economic vulnerability, economic deprivation, physical tortures, and sexual harassment, they are all the part of the additional vulnerabilities which our women is facing today in the society. Now, when we talk about the women, what makes her vulnerable? The first question comes, what makes her vulnerable? When vulnerable word comes to us, the first thing which comes in our mind is women. Why not man? So there are reasons for this. Because women is facing restricted mobility at home, not in urban areas, but in rural areas, we are still seeing that women folk, they are made to stay at home. They are not made to go to the schools, to the colleges. But yes, government is taking a lot of steps to make them come forward and go to the schools like Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. You might have heard about it. So this is the steps which government is taking, which our administration is taking, and yes, under the guidance and leadership of our PM, Mr. Narendra Modi, who is very keen and he wants that our women folk should come forward, and they should come forward in the education and in other fields.
Uh, Thank you so much for giving me the platform, and I am so glad to be part of it. Much has been said by ma'am already. Because I think your question was relating to the vulnerabilities, I would just add on to the ma'am's answer that if we talk of especially women in GNK, women in GNK have layered vulnerabilities beyond domestic violence, because we are a state where there is economic instability, we are a state where there is a militancy, we are a state where there is lack of legal literacy, especially we are a state where displacement is there, we are a state where there is instability, and especially I will say all these things have led to normalized silence and fear. Ma'am belongs to social welfare department, and I am creating awareness. So when I deal with the people, I have seen that when a domestic violence is there on a woman, when a sexual harassment is there on a woman, when under POCSO Act children are subject to sexual abuse, we just normalize their behavior. We normalize their voice, we normalize their fear. People don't come forward, there is very less reporting, and reason behind being is not only lack of legal literacy, reason being is that women in GNK especially, they in GNK there is no corporate sector is very less, there are no employment opportunities. So I will naturally tell her the things which we want at root level, right? Being an NGO person, I will want what things we want at root level, ma'am. One thing I want that it should be localized, right? Like you said, you are implementing POSH Act. I'd give you one very simple example. Look, you have a POSH Act, you have internal complaint committee, we have laws, ma'am is there with us. We have laws, but where is implementation? I give you one example, very simplified example. If there is a POSH Act, say I am the member, ma'am is member, right? And none of us is aware of grassroots sensitization about that sexual harassment that girl or that woman is facing in the workplace. How we will deal with the issue? Problem is this: we need sensitization at grassroots level. That is very important, because if a internal complaint committee is formed, right, and there are 2 male members in that, there is 1 female member in that, and that 2 male members are not sensitized, they don't know what sexual harassment is. Like ma'am has said, if we want to do at nodal levels, what we have to do, justice must be localized, justice must be compassionate, and justice must be trustworthy. Only then women will come out, only then POSH Act will be helpful, only then POCSO Act will be helpful, only then Domestic Violence Act will be helpful.
I would like to add up to this that we need to see the target areas and the target victims.
Yes, exactly.
We are having silent survivors. Actually, the term is silent survivors, because they
Agree.
don't come forward. So here, ma'am is absolutely right. Protection will succeed only when the accessibility will replace the mere availability. See, availability is there, but there is no accessibility. So we have to work on the accessibility part. We have to make ourselves accessible to that victim so that she can come to us, and she can register. She can say whatever she wants to say.
Accessibility will be there only when there is some kind of awareness.
Yes, that sensitization at the grassroots level. Ma'am is absolutely right. At the grassroots level is required. So we have to see grassroots level पर हमारे आंगनवाड़ी workers हैं, हमारे आशा workers हैं. So what we need to do is we have to go for the capacity building measures and the training of those workers who are in the field actually.
Good afternoon. See, I have heard both the dignitaries, but my thought is that in this era, in 2025, why are we discussing women empowerment? Why are we discussing domestic violence? We have to look on the parameters why this is happening in this era of 2025, where I'm glad to see you people, young girls, coming up, doing podcast with she's an elder woman. She is also elder than me. Myself also. Why are we discussing it? What are the parameters? We are facing it in the society. We have seen Sati Pratha. With the passage of time, that has been eliminated from the society. What was the ratio, what was the gender ratio before and what is the gender ratio now? We have to compare everything. We have to see the parameters. What are the things that are affecting the society to promote these type of violences against the women? Why are men doing these things? Because we are taught in the family that woman is bound to help families. They are not taught to be uh, uh, economically independent. We are not taught to be, right? So there are many things. Now we have to see drug issue also. Drug is the main cause of violence now. We have to see that also. Drug has obviously promoted sexual harassment to the woman. So there are very, very, very good parameters. There are very discussable parameters that we have to look on and we have to work together. So we, rather than discussing on things, rather than discussing on women empowerment and domestic violence, we should now discuss on parameters. What is promoting domestic violence?
Moving forward, I'd like to ask Sonia ma'am that based on your experience in Viram Foundation, what patterns have you observed in domestic violence, particularly in terms of access to legal remedies for women in rural or conflict affected area, and how they can be improved?
Look, based on my experience on the Ram Foundation, basically, like ma'am has said, both the ma'ams have said, of them are working at grassroots levels. They have said that we need legal literacy, right? So my job is doing legal literacy, and whenever we are creating legal literacy, ma'am has said about one thing. I will add to her that she has talked about male violence, you know? But one thing I tell you, ma'am, that male violence, when we talk of male and female violence, are still more vulnerable sections in the society. But when we talk of root levels, we have to take both of them into account. And one thing more is, when I talk to women, thing is that I tell you statistics, 2024 to 2025, domestic violence cases have increased. There is two way. We can take it two ways. One way is why they have increased, because
They
more
have been
reporting is there.
reporting more, yes.
Why they have increased, because more legal awareness is there. So should we feel happy? We can be in both ways. We can feel happy that yes, there is legal awareness, but we can feel sad because abuse is there. So we can say we are empowered. Is this empowerment? If we are empowered, then why are there domestic violence cases? Courts are full of divorce cases. Courts are full of restitution cases. Courts are full of domestic violence cases nowadays. But it's good that, especially like ma'am said, there are not silent, this. Only thing is that we need, I will take the ma'am's issues, that we need to bring those women out. In JNK, there is a social stigma. Compared to metropolitan cities, in JNK, you have women are afraid of being coming out, right? When I talk to women, okay, you are having domestic violence, why don't you report it to? Right? They will say that because of fear of instability. They will say because of fear of economic dependence. Everyone is dependent. Now, what our purpose? Law is very important in that. It's not that law is not important. All of you are law students. You must know that you must tell them. Only then they will come out. You must tell them that you have right to shelter homes.
Yes.
That is the department of ma'am. You have right to financial assistance, right? You the law students have told me right now that you are dealing with legal aid cells, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You have right to legal aid opportunities. You have right to free legal aid. Only then women will come out. We have to address these issues, that don't be afraid, you come out. We will give you free legal assistance. We will give you free advice. We will give you nodal centers. We will give you shelter homes. We will give you residence orders. We will give you other protection orders. With basic thing is implementation is not, courts have not speedy justice.
Nextly, I would like to turn to Dr. Rehana for her perspective. The Social Welfare Department implements several schemes for women facing violence. From your experience, what are the biggest gaps between policy intent and ground level implementation in Jammu and Kashmir, and how can these gaps be reduced?
Well, Maheen, let me tell you, Social Welfare Department is doing a lot for these women who are the sufferers. We have established one-stop centers, OSCs, in every district. They are also known as Sakhi centers.
Okay.
And a woman who is suffering from such type of harassments or violence, they can go directly to these OSCs and they can register their complaint. Not only this, these Sakhi centers are the support hubs. They provide you temporary shelter for the time being the women wants it. They provide you legal assistance, free police assistance is there. And the best part is that we are having a women helpline number 181 through this media of yours. I also want to circulate this among our women folk. There is a women helpline number. She can call on this number and she can register her complaint. And one we are having in our police stations, local police stations, pilot special cells. They are working in coordination with the National Commission for Women, and they are in every police station, every local police stations, where there's a women police officer or a women police official who assists that woman, and she can register her complaint. And there's a proper monitoring and proper follow-up of her complaint. Now, implementation part. When we say of implementation, we see that there are gaps. Why there are gaps? Because there is lack of awareness. And when we talk about the urban areas, there is awareness to some extent, but a far-flung area, the lack of awareness is mainly in the far-flung areas because they don't, people don't go there. Even as an officer, I will say, oh, it's very far. Why to go there?
Right.
So that's why I told you earlier that we have to find that field workers. So we have to identify that field workers which are to be taken into account, which are to be trained, and they, in coordination with them, we can help to find out who is the target, who is the victim, and we can help her out.
Thank you, ma'am. Furtherly, Overshi ma'am, I have a question for you. That as a leader working closely with women at grassroots level in Jammu and Kashmir, what forms of gender-based or domestic violence do women most commonly report, and what social or cultural barriers prevent them from speaking out?
Speaking on the first part of
Yes,
your
ma'am.
question, see, I have worked in far-flung areas also,
Okay.
in remote areas. I've seen women not speaking out, not speaking in their families also,
Yes,
what
ma'am. True.
kind of violence they are facing. I'll not say only physical violence is domestic violence. I will say emotional abuse and mental torture is more distressful for the women.
Yes.
Cornering the woman in their own house is something that is totally not tolerable, right? So I have seen people in remote areas experiencing this thing in their life. So for me, that is a kind of more concern, and we are not talking about that. In whatever platform we talk about domestic violence, we generally relate to physical violence. We are not talking about emotional abuse and the you must have heard nowadays silent divorces. People are facing silent divorces, not in remote areas but in urban areas also. Coming to your second part of your question, see, we can obviously differentiate these things in urban areas and for remote areas. In urban areas, the working for a woman facing domestic violence, like ma'am said, is much easier than working for a woman facing domestic violence in remote areas. You know, doing awareness programs like social welfare department also organizes. Police public meetings, police public interactions are held in different corners of the society. But like ma'am said, both the dignitaries said, it's very important how we are implementing it. We are not implementing anything. We are just going, creating awareness programs, bringing pictures, putting it on the social media. So that are the areas we have to work on. What we are doing. Like ma'am said, we have to find the target areas. So, like I said earlier, parameters, we need to work on the parameters.
Moving forward, I would like a question for Sonia ma'am. Ma'am, you are specialized in domestic violence against women. Women are encouraged to reconcile after violence, but what measures can be taken to ensure that there is a victim centric approach while reconciliation and women's safety is not compromised in the process?
Look, like ma'am has said that if we go to grassroots now, we are, we will be very sad, we will be disheartened to know what women are facing. Like she has said that woman has to take care of family, she has to take care of kids. She will be afraid of coming out, right? And even if we as a woman here talk about it, every woman, every 1 out of 3 women in India has at one point of time suffered certain type of violence. You have talked about reconciliation.
Right.
You have already said because ma'am is there, I have seen her, she's for reconciliation. She will always want ki families should remain united. It's not that lawyers are not against this. I am also for reconciliation. But look, we are living in a 21st century. I will never want that reconciliation. It's my priority. It has always been my priority since I have joined law. But it should not be at the cost of women's right to dignity. It should not be at the cost of women's right to freedom. It should not be at the cost of being, weaker sex. It should not be at cost of that. So reconciliation will be effected when you give women choices, when you give women spaces, when you pressurize women to counsel, or you give counseling on pressurizing her, then it will be of no effect. And women who is facing domestic violence, all in rural or urban areas, I tell you, she is not the sole sufferer. She will not give her children that life they deserve. She will not lead that life which she has to live with dignity in the society. She will not come up that as of that woman. So reconciliation should be there only with true victim-centric approach.
Okay,
Right?
sure, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. I'd like to further ask Dr. Rihanna, ma'am, that you have worked extensively on drug de-addiction awareness among youth. Could you explain how substance abuse contributes to domestic and gender-based violence in J&K, and how preventive social policies can help break this cycle?
Well, Diksha, it's a very important issue I should talk on, because you all are youth over here, our future generation, the base of the nation, I should say. And what I feel is that substance abuse is the trigger and the aggravating factor for these domestic and gender-based violence. And what substance abuse is actually, like, it is the usage of the opioid, cannabis, or any sedative material. I feel that the areas which are more vulnerable, like schools, colleges, they need to be sensitized, and awareness needs to be done at that level, so that our youth comes to know that yes, this is poison, I don't have to go this side. And it has really affected the violence, whether it is domestic or it is gender based. Because who is being affected? If we see in a family, the women, as the Urvashi ma'am said, child, we don't talk about child abuse. See, child is also being affected when a man or a male or a female of a family is coming addicted to the family. What effect is being on the entire family, on the child? It's an indirect or direct effect on the family, mainly on the children who is in the infancy stage. And what we are teaching him, what he is saying, it is going to affect his future, no doubt. So in this case, we are having some what policies are being taken by the government. I will talk on that. Drug de-addiction centers have been established in different districts, and what we do, the youth who is under the influence of the drug, he is being identified. Again, this we have to work on the base level, grassroots level. Panchayats are there, religious community leaders are there, who find out this target, because people don't come out of the social stigma unless and until the identification of that addict is not there.
Yes.
So we need to work on this, and we need to make the people, again, the awareness part, the sensitization part. So in coordination with the Department of Health, in coordination with the Department of Skill, then we have to engage him. We have to see what sort of skill he is having so that we can encourage him and we can provide him employment opportunities. So again, the intercoordination department is required, and we have to see the adolescent children. We have to give them awareness. We have to sensitize them, and that can be done on the college levels, at the school levels, and again, religious and spiritual leaders can play a very important role in it. They can sensitize the youth. Youth can be taken into the fine and the straight direction that this thing is bad, just be out of it, stay out of it.
Thank you. Thank you
Coming
so much.
back to the topic,
Yes.
how can, Urvashi ma'am, I would like to ask you the
Sure,
question. How can political platforms and women wings like Mahila Morcha play a more active role in ensuring accountability, both within families and institutions, when cases of domestic violence or gender injustice arise?
See, political platforms, or being a part of political platform and representing Mahila Morcha. Mahila Morcha usually works with the department. We work with this social justice department or social welfare department also. We work with the women's cell also. We work with the women commission also. See, local leadership. See, if I am a victim, I'll approach, the first thing would be I'll not go to the police station. For me, going to the police station is itself a stigma.
Yes.
So I'll go to the local leader. Maybe that leader can, for me, neutralize the situation for the moment. Okay. So being representing Mahila Morcha and taking awareness programs into accountability is something that we do with the departments to create awareness programs, like ma'am said, the helpline numbers. There is one more helpline number, I think, ma'am, 1098.
109
Yeah.
child helpline.
Yeah, it's the child helpline number. We work with the department to, at least what department is doing, we further create awareness programs so that multiple people can get benefit from that. So they work with the department, and believe me, many people get benefit from I'll not say a particular political party, but from different political leaders, because they are the most approachable people to go to. So these are the kind of work that we do.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So at last, I would just like to express gratitude from whole of our members of our team to our distinguished panel, Rihanna ma'am, Sonia ma'am, and Urvashi ma'am. Thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you
and
so much.
joining
Thank you
us.
so much for
Thank you
making
for
us the
having
part
us.
of this valuable interaction.
It was a
Thank
very
you. Thank you, Law
enlightening
School.
podcast, and we have got perspectives from different departments, and it was really enlightening. Thank you so much for adding to our knowledge. We are really grateful.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.